As Kenton Gibbs predicted, Caleb Love went off. It still wasn't enough.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday. Shout out to the everydayers, and thank you so much for making Locked On ACC your first listen and your first watch today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. On this loaded episode, we'll talk top 25 football coaches in the country and how many from the ACC made that cut. But it's all about Duke basketball today. So the Blue Devils, they keep dancing. They outlast Arizona to get to the Elite Eight, where they have a date with the highest scoring team in the country in the Alabama Crimson Tide. But Kenton Gibbs, first and foremost, like when we discussed the Arizona game prior to it, I wasn't even convinced that Caleb Love was going to go off. Now, obviously, he has a history with Duke, knocked them out of the Final Four a few years ago with North Carolina. Caleb Love did go off with 35 points, the most an Arizona player has ever scored in a tournament game, and it still wasn't enough to beat the Blue Devils.
If only somebody could have warned, Caleb Love could have the game of the century, and it still wouldn't be enough. If only somebody had specifically said, hey, this Duke team is so deep. And again, I will give Arizona credit. Let me start here. Give Arizona their credit because they covered the spread. This was a single-digit game. Hey, going up against a juggernaut, sometimes you just don't have the horse in the stable. However, Caleb Love put on a performance of a lifetime. Like you said, how many Arizona players have ever scored that many in the tournament?
0.
You're talking about Richard Jefferson. You're talking about Gilbert Arenas. You're talking about some all-time greats. I believe Bibby went there, did he? Or am I wrong there?
I think you're right.
They've had a ton of great players come through that school. Not a single one has ever put on that type of scoring performance. So credit to him, credit to Arizona. They did every single thing they could for the most part. You look at them and you say, you keep the rebounding battle within 3, only out-rebounded by 3 rebounds. You say, well, you didn't let them, catch fire from deep because Duke, while they shot well from deep at 57.9%, it was 11 of 19. So it's not like they're just jacking up 43s and all of them are wide open. You did a decent job. Still not enough. Still not enough. The power of friendship is not going to help you when you got to guard Cooper Flag. And then when you finally decide to double on Cooper Flag, who you helping off of? Who you helping off of? Because all those boys can shoot over there too. This was a game that went much as expected. But again, I give Arizona their credit because they kept battling. They kept fighting the entire game. And granted, it's the Sweet 16. Of course, you expect these teams to go down fighting. But I really and truly, Duke takes the lead at halftime, and you think to yourself, okay, pack it up. The avalanche is coming. And it never did. Arizona just kept fighting, kept battling, kept keeping it close. But again, too much Duke, too much Cooper Flag, too much Cockney, too much of all of their best guys. You talk about Caleb Love going off for 30 or 35. How about 30 from our boy Cooper Flag? How about not only do I give you 30, I'm going to give you 36 and 7. How about that? Hey, that ain't enough for you? Let my running mate get involved. Kyle Knipple, 20 points on 5 of 7 shooting.
And also, you forgot about the 3 blocks as well for Cooper Flag. Like, he completely filled out the box score.
Listen, stat sheet stuffer supreme. And again, this was a game that when you watched it, you just saw. It was literally just too much Duke. It was literally just that when Arizona went to their small lineup, Duke said, we're not going to match your small lineup. We'll leave our guys out there. They can get it done. They'll run with it. And sure as hog manure stinks, they surely still did it. So these guys, man, this seems like a team of destiny at this point. And this next game, hammer the over. Hammer. Defense will be optional, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you thought of Duke as more of a defensive team, and they play great defense usually, so I'd understand that. You probably would have thought, Duke would maybe slow the game down a little bit, try to keep Arizona in quicksand, but the ability to adapt to Arizona's style and beat them at their own game with pace was pretty impressive. I mean, Duke scores 100 points in this game, Kenton. 100-93 is the final score. And, I can't say enough about Cooper Flagg because, Kenton, it was on full display last night.
Yeah.
And obviously he scores 5 less points than Caleb Love did, but still a more impressive performance from Flagg because he's one of the most complete NBA prospects we've seen in a while. I mean, his ability to do everything on both ends of the floor, KG. I mean, whether it be the big blocks in the game, the assists, those no-look alley-oop passes. Somehow he telepathically knows where his teammates are going to be at all times. The three-pointers, like he hit that buzzer beater at the end of the first half from a third down the court, right? Multiple three-pointers, the mid-range jumpers. I mean, there's not a weakness. I mean, there is not a weakness in Cooper Flagg as not only an NBA prospect, but a guy who is paving his trail towards National Player of the Year.
Oh, absolutely. When you look at Cooper Flagg and all that he does for this team, he is a large part of the reason why they don't need a traditional point guard. You need a traditional point guard when you've got good scores, not great. When you've got guys that just they're close, but they just need a little something to get them over the edge here. They're on their way, but somebody has to set the table for them. Cooper Flagg can get it done for himself, but he can also get it done for other guys. He can also feed other guys and make sure they're getting involved in all that good stuff. I mean, quick question. What stat did this young man not lead Duke in last night? He was the leading scorer, of course, the leading scorer for Duke, of course, tied for the lead in rebounds, leading assister, tied for the lead in steals, and only came one block behind Kaman Malawach in terms of most blocks on the team. So this young man, like you said, Donno, he did it all at a very high clip. When you look for a weakness, when you look for the chink in that armor, you better look real close. You better pull out that go-go gadget extendo glasses because you're going to need something to find a weakness because it's not glaring, whatever it is.
Well, and this sets up what should be a great Elite Eight matchup on Saturday. So there were 2 teams on Thursday night that scored 100 or more points. Those teams are going to match up in the next round. And the Alabama Crimson Tide, they can be dangerous, Kenton. I'm not going to guarantee victory for Duke, but let's talk about it because this should be an awesome matchup. And I know it's the number 1 versus number 2 seed. It's chalk, all that stuff, but sometimes you get the best possible matchups and they deliver. You want to keep it locked right here. We're only getting started on this brand new episode of Locked On ACC. Oh, we're only getting started with Nissan, and we're all about the stats, right? Cooper Flagg filling up that stat sheet. Numbers don't lie. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X, the numbers are on an MVP level. With the ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds, it can quite literally carry the whole team, plus the gear wherever you need to go. It's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. And with room up to 8 people, the Armada PRO-4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada PRO-4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. We're also brought to you by FanDuel. And if you had Cooper Flagg props and overs, you're counting your money today. Guys, March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories, even who's cutting down the nets. Guys, the FanDuel app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly, no waiting around. And Kenton and I are about to tell you why you need to smash the over on Duke versus Alabama coming up in the Elite Eight. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Thank you for making Locked On ACC your first listen. For your next listen, check out our other shows. Kenton Gibbs and Grayson Boone host Locked On Wolfpack, talking everything NC State. I talk everything Miami on Locked On Canes. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts and free on YouTube. So, KG, you had Duke last night scoring 100 to beat Arizona, 193. the Alabama Crimson Tide, and scoring is nothing new for them. Highest scoring team in the country. They beat BYU 113-88. And the road to get to those 113 points for Alabama involved scoring. I'm going to kill myself with how crazy I'm getting about this. It involved scoring 75 points from three-pointers, Kenton. Alabama hit 25 threes, and that can be the ultimate equalizer. How does Alabama have a chance to beat Duke? I'm not saying it's going to be that easy because they're going to be contested. But if they can get hot like that from three, anything can happen.
Anything can definitely happen with a team that has shown a propensity to make threes. Not only do they take threes at a high clip, they make threes at a high clip. Anybody could take it. Anybody could jack up. Donno, you and me could get in the gym and do our best Spice Adams impression and throw up 33 straight, right?
Yeah, I'm going to hit like 1 out of every 10. I can hit it.
Oh, don't let Donno get hot. He made 1 in a row, ladies and gentlemen. But in all seriousness, when you look at this Bama team, that pace and space thing is who they are. They are, as soon as that ball comes out the net, go. As soon as you get the rebound, go. Here's the lane for them to win this game. Get extremely hot from deep. And again, just keep running. Don't stop. Doesn't matter who's in. Doesn't matter what the lineup is. Arizona showed by making that game closer than it should have been. Like, hey, you can speed Duke up. Really, if I was John Scheyer, I would have said, oh, no. Yeah, we're winning. We don't need to play their game. We don't need to play their game. Less possessions. Let's be more surgical. Let's give Cooper Flag less chance.
And that's what Scheyer said they were going to do. He said they were going to do that, and they didn't even do it that way, and they still won.
And that's what I'm saying in terms of if you can bait them into playing your game, that is where Alabama has a path to win. Because if Scheyer actually gets through to the guys and they deeply follow, wait a minute, this Bama team can't defend a lick. We'll be all right. In the half court. Slow these boys down and make them get a bucket in the half court. They'll be just fine. But if you let them have that track meet, oh boy, it could spell trouble for Duke. And again, I'm not even saying that Duke has no shot if it becomes a track meet. What I'm saying is you're giving Bama a shot at that point. Bama has no shot in a half-court game. If this game is a slugfest where the winner scores 80 points, easily. Duke is going to be dancing on to the Final Four easily. But if Bama can say, you know what, we're going to run regardless. We're going to make them run with us. Because what's so interesting about Bama, they're one of the more interesting teams in the nation because they're so high in terms of pace, but they're also so low in terms of turnovers. Don't get me wrong. Defensively, there are holes. There are problems. They're not great on-ball defenders. Don't have a ton of great rim protection. Sure. But what they do have is they're systemic in that offense. It's very much so, hey, you think that you're just watching a bunch of guys run. There is always a mission behind the mayhem, and they always seem to have some guy open from deep at the end of that mayhem. So the goal for Duke here, I would say, slow it down. Beat us in the half court. If you can beat us in the half court, y'all will go on to the Final Four. But I don't think they can.
So the historical perspective, which this goes back so many years, it's not that significant for me. It's not like it's a conference opponent, but Duke has beaten Bama 8 out of the 9 times they've faced one another. So 8-1 record. But again, that to me, it's just window dressing on the pregame hype for this one. And in terms of Alabama's hot shooting, the guy who got, of course, hottest on Thursday night was guard Mark Sears, who went 10 for 16 from 3, shot 11 for 18 overall, 10 from 16 from 3. If he can do something like that, he could give Duke or anyone a scare. Now, in terms of Duke, like kind of going back to their victory over Arizona last night, give Arizona a lot of credit for keeping it close and hanging in till literally the very end. Duke didn't hit a field goal for the final 4 minutes. They were able to ice the game on the free throw line, but not being hot shooting down the stretch, like I expected Duke to win by double digits. They probably should have won by double digits. They won by 7. The spread was 9.5. Concerned you at all that Duke didn't hit a field goal for the final 4 minutes of the game last night?
I think that was concerning given the pace of the game. Again, if we're talking about a game where it was slowed down, and granted, the end of the game obviously was much slower than what we saw earlier in the game, but the way that the pace of the game was what it was, and you didn't score for 4 minutes. Sometimes in college, Donno, 4 minutes is all of what? 5, maybe 6 offensive possessions, maybe.
Yeah, it's true.
This was not that. So that when you get 7, 8, 9 possessions, you can't muster up one field goal. I mean, that is a little bit troublesome. And of course, the back half of that, 5 minutes, they were being fouled and sent to the line to kind of play the foul game and all that. Sure. Let's not ignore that. But even before that, I want to see something. I want to see, hey, you know what? We've got something drawn up and dedicated to get a bucket here. But in defense of John Scheyer, he could have been like, you know what? This game is put away. We don't need to go in our bag of tricks and pull out our guarantee like, hey, this is the set that we run to bring it home. This is we ran this until we threw up in practice type of set. This is our set that we know if I believe it was the Johnny Cash autobiography where he said, stop playing that song. Stop playing that boring song. You got one song. This is the last song you'll ever play. Is this what you will play? I don't believe that Duke pulled that out at the end of this game here. Yeah. But again, if they did, that is a serious concern. At that point, I am concerned to say, now, wait a minute now. Arizona's good defensively. They're not that great to where I'm saying it makes sense for you to not be able to get your best stuff off in the clutch.
Coming up next, if you thought Dabo Swinney lost his magic, Greg McElroy from ESPN thinks otherwise. You want to keep it locked right here. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On ACC. Oh, guys, 5 Hour Energy helps me get a pep in my step with these late night NCAA tournament games. And guys, daylight savings recently stuck up on us again. If you're feeling that lost hour of sleep still, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through it. Whether you're staying up late watching these games, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Guys, whether I'm at a game or traveling, 5 Hour Energy is easy to grab and keeps me feel refreshed. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one right now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They are everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized with 5 Hour Energy.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On ACC your first listen and your first watch today. He's Kenton Gibbs from Locked On Wolfpack. I am Alex Donno from Locked On Canes. Greg McElroy of ESPN, former quarterback, he put out his top 25 coaches list. He's got 4 coaches from the ACC on his list. His football coaches, of course. He's got Rhett Lashley of SMU at number 24. He's got Mario Cristobal at Miami, number 20. He's got Jeff Brom of Louisville at number 8. How about top 10 for Coach Brom? And he's got Dabo Swinney at number 7. But like Kenton, I want to give my flowers to Dabo because I look at who's in front of him. I could actually make arguments that Dabo could be in front of some of the coaches that are ahead of him on the list. I will not argue Kirby Smart at number 1. Look, he's just done so much winning there. Ryan Day just got his championship at number 2. Steve Sarkisian at number 3. Marcus Freeman at number 4. Dan Lanning, number 5. Kalen DeBoer at number 6. I mean, Dabo Swinney, his track record, those national championships, like you could argue he could be as high as number 3 or number 2 on this list.
I was just about to say 3 is generous. All due respect, what did the guys Green Earth have 2 through 6 done?
Yeah. Oh, Ryan Day just got a champ. He hasn't beaten Michigan, but he's gotten a championship.
How many national championships do all of those coaches have combined as head coaches? 1?
1. Yeah.
What are we doing here? Listen, anybody who knows me knows that, Dabo Swinney is a guy that I don't love, I don't hate. And that's so, people find that so interesting because everybody treats Dabo like pineapples on pizza. Either you love him or you hate him. And I treat Dabo a lot like I treat pineapples on pizza. It's just kind of there. Sometimes it's good, sometimes you don't like it.
See, I hate it. I think pineapple on pizza is sacrilege. Yeah.
See, nobody is neutral about it but me. I'm the only person that's like, But you can't tell me a world where when you look at the resume, even if you were projecting out into the future, what have these guys done? Will Ohio State have $20 million to drop on a new roster every single year?
Yes, they will.
Okay, fair. But even still, even beyond that, what the hell has Dan Lanning done? What? Yeah. Marcus Freeman, what has he done? What? Again, and this is not to disrespect nobody. This is not to say that those coaches are not good. But when you get to that upper pantheon, when you get to the top 5, 6, 7 coaches in America, I need to know, hey, I can trust you. With it all on the line, I can trust you. I know that you're going to get it done. I know you're going to find a way, make a way, do something in that situation. And the only coach who's got a hand that's got multiple natties on it outside of number one, because again, can't argue Kirby. Hey, he's doing what he's doing down there in Georgia. More power to him. Everybody else, Dabo can say, rings? Anybody? Rings? Do y'all keep your phone on silent because you sound like you lack rings? What is happening around here? Dabo can say that to them, and they can't have any rebuttal other than, well, that was old. That was from before. And he can say, well, even now, where are your rings? What have you done? So, again, I think it's very interesting to see that coaches with less playoff wins than Dabo, forget national championships, even if we just take the playoff wins with less than him, are in this list. What the hell has Dan Lanning done to merit this? What you or I could coach Oregon up to some wins. When's the last time Oregon had a losing season? Like, regardless of who the coach is. Yeah,
well, and it's weird to say this because of how good Oregon's regular season was, but then they underachieved once they got to the CFP. So it's like, I mean, maybe choke is too strong of a word, but
the choke is the precise word. They were down 35 zip. What was it? 35 zip or 21 zip? Whichever one it was. Yeah. You were down. You were down 3 touchdowns as an undefeated number 1 seed.
Yeah.
What are you?
Okay, they choked. I'll say it.
Perform the Heimlich on the Ducks, okay? So, again, if you're projecting into the future and you believe that Dabo's on the slide, like, I was a person who thought Dabo was on the slide last year. He proved me wrong. He shut me up. I got to be honest. Got to give him his praise. That brother is one of the best in the deal.
Well, then how about like Kalen DeBoer being ranked ahead of him? Like, okay, he got Washington to the national title game, didn't win it, and then he goes to Alabama, and then every week on the Paul Feinbaum show, Paul is like talking Alabama fans literally off ledges that are like about to jump because of Kalen DeBoer. That guy's ranked ahead of Dabo?
Kalen DeBoer, I mean this very genuinely. To be in that spot where I'm saying you're top 5, I need to see sustained success. One championship does not put you there. And I understand that, some of these teams, okay, sure, they had a lot of recent success. And as Andre 3000 will say, you only funky as your last cut. Well, if you only funky as your last cut, Kalen DeBoer stinks. He stinks. Guess what, Donno? Whenever we have a guest on this show, we have as many people on the pod as Kalen DeBoer scored points against Oklahoma, the mighty Oklahoma. That's what we got rolling right now. So again, you can't tell me a world where Kalen DeBoer has done anything to warrant him being ahead of Dabo Swinney. And honestly, I kid you not, Kalen DeBoer may be the most egregious of all the coaches that were put ahead of him.
He is.
Because it's like,
think he is.
In what world you were born on third base and somehow did not get home and you're still getting accolades for that? You took over a team that took the national champions from the year before, undefeated national championship, to overtime, did not make the playoffs, lost your bowl game to that same team that was national champions, by the way, but without a ton of talent, a ton of guys sitting out. And you're here? Come on, man. Come on. By the way, where did McElroy go to college again?
Alabama.
Oh, okay. I'm sure that
might have a little something to do with it, right?
I'm sure that didn't factor at all.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't understand. I don't see why he would be loyal to DeBoer. I guess he just wants to be loyal to his alma mater because, like, McElroy's a Saban guy. But yeah, I don't.
Exactly.
Still.
And if anything, if you believe in the dominance and prominence of Alabama, I'm going to say, get Kenton the tail up out of there. Get him up out of there. Because he's not the guy. He's clearly not the guy. But, hey, more power to him, you know. Hey, the ACC will gladly be happy about a SEC team failing right now.
Sure thing. Well, we'll see if an ACC team can beat an SEC team in the Elite Eight coming up. We'll talk about that on our next episode, how Duke does against Alabama. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On ACC your first listen and your first watch today. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. For Kenton, Gibbs, I am Alex Donno. We'll talk to you guys again next time on another episode of Locked On ACC. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.